Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. Rajkumar's Learning App. In this session, we are going to discuss about the Mauryan Empire and the Guptas. The last chapter we discussed about the Mahajanapadas and how the Magadhan Empire came into existence and what are the dynasties who ruled that particular Magadhan Empire. So in this chapter, we are going to discuss about the Mauryans. Okay, as I told you, Nandas were the last ruler of the Magadhan Empire. From that, Chandragupta Maurya got the power of the Magadhan, as well as he come up with a new empire name called the Mauryas. Chandragupta Maurya, considered to be the founder of Mauryan Empire, the timeline of him around 321 BC to 298 BC. The Mauryan Empire was founded by Chandragupta Maurya in 321 BC. The foundation of empire was laid in the Magadha only. Magadha means it's a current state which is Bihar. Okay, so the dynasty founded by replacing the Nandas, the Chanakya, Kautilya or Vishnu Gupta, all this name for the one personality. Chanakya, Kautilya, Vishnu Gupta, he was a great scholar who learned from the Taxila University, and he is the one who played a significant role in terms of helping Chandragupta Maurya to come up with a new empire name called Mauryans. So a whole series of events have been summarized in Mudra Rakshasa written by Vishagadatta. About the sources of this particular Mauryan Empire were recorded in the Mudra Rakshasa written by Vishagadatta, and also one of other resources as well, Kautilya's Arthasastra and Megasthenes Indica. Megasthene was the ambassador from the Greek ruler Seleucus Nicator, was sent to the court of Chandragupta Maurya, where he recorded about the Mauryan Empire. And also Dipavamsa and Mahavamsa, the Ceylonese chronicles, also become one of the resources to read about the Mauryan Empire. Chandragupta Maurya was patronization of which religious? Jainism. And a lot of Jain literature is based on him only. And Pataliputra, the modern day Patna in the state of Bihar, was the capital city of the Mauryan Empire. So, the imperial organization structure. What is the imperial organization structure? The elaborate of arrangements made in the Mauryan administration and their society and economy have been completely described in detail related to whatever they did during the time period in Indica. Megasthenes Indica was the greatest book, and it clearly shows about the admin, society and economy activity of the Mauryan Empire. And Arthasastra written by Kautilya. For better administration, Chandragupta divided the empire into provinces. The center was divided into states. Okay, centralized administration. For the convenience of that particular administration, further all these particular land was divided into the provinces. Provinces means the states. That provinces to be ruled and maintained by the princes, in addition to the dozen departments and the armed forces containing around 6 wings were also maintained. Remember, for central administration means there will be a councils of minister, which is popularly known as Mantri Parishad. Each and every person used to have their own departments, and also they will divide the complete land into the provinces, and that comes under the control of the governor, which is known as princes. Okay, this is called centralized administration structure, which was carved out by Chanakya under the guidelines of Arthasastra. The administrative system was well organized and has been established with a sound financial base for the sustainment. So the first ruler, Chandragupta Maurya. After that, Bindusara, from 298 to 273 BC is the timeline of Bindusara. He was known to Greeks as a Amitragada. Amitragada means believed to be have patronized the Ajvika sect. Ajvikas were the people who come under the philosophy of the religious under Buddhism only. While there are ambitious in the accounts about his court, Daimestius of Plataea has been placed as the ambassador of Seleucid Emperor Antiochus I at Bindusara's court. Remember, Chandragupta Maurya also got one particular ambassador from the Seleucus Nicator, as a Indo-Greek ruler from northwest of India, and his name was Megasthenes. Likewise, Bindusara time period also witnessed a particular ambassador name called Daimestius. He is from the court of Antiochus I. Okay, so this is about the information related to Bindusara. After that, Ashoka the Great. In the history, we always mention two personalities as the great. One is Ashoka the Great, another one personality is Akbar the Great under Mughal Empire of your medieval history. So Ashoka ruled from 273 BC to 232 BC, which called very a significant rule of the ancient history of India. Often considered the most prominent rule of the Mauryan dynasty, he was known as Devanam Priya Priyadashi. Devanam Priya Priyadarshi as the beautiful one who was beloved of the gods. So the one who got beloved of the gods, which is known as Devam Priya Priyadashi. So in the inscriptions which erupt during the time period of Mauryan Empire got the name Devam Priya Priyadasi, which is indicating the personality name called the Ashoka. And Ashoka fought the Kalinga War in the year of 261 BC. The Battle of Kalinga, which changed the life of Ashoka. Kalinga is ruled by the Karvelas. Right now, the coastal part of Odisha, which is known as Kalinga. Okay, so Ashoka's inscriptions. The inscriptions of Ashoka were deciphered by James Princip. So James Princip was the British scholar. He is the one who deciphered, that is, translating his script into the English, so that we come to know about more detail related to the Ashokan Empire. Ashokan inscriptions carried royal orders through which he spoke directly to the subjects. These inscriptions were in the form of rock because earlier we do not have any kind of medium. So the king wanted to give any kind of instruction or to praise him, or else whatever the note he wanted to make a record in terms of going for the war. Everything were in the form of inscriptions only in the hard surface called rock. Okay, were further divided into major and minor rock edicts. So whatever the inscriptions he inscribed in the rock, which is popularly known as rock edicts of Ashoka, where you can find the complete detail related to the Ashoka's rule. The 14 major rock edicts of Ashoka mentioned about the principles of Dhamma. Okay, Dharma or Dhamma, both are same only, don't get confused. So Dhamma policies, which he got inspired from the teaching of Buddha, and he wanted to make some kind of regulations and rules to the people, so that he wanted to make sure, yes, the people of the land supposed to follow Dhamma policies. When he did Kalinga War, he got inspired from one particular monk. Okay, and because of him only, he gradually becoming the Buddhist monk. So he is a follower of which religious? Buddhism. The Kalinga Rock Edict explains the principles of administration after the Kalinga War. In his Kalinga Edict, Ashoka mentions all men are my children. The major Rock Edict number 13 of Ashoka's deals with the conquest of Kalinga, and the term Ashoka was mentioned only in the Musky Minor Rock Edict. Apart from that, in another Rock Edict, how they used to mention Ashoka as a Devam Priya Priyadarshi. Okay, Ashoka and Buddhism. How come he got more interest towards the religious Buddhism? Ashoka converted to Buddhism after the Battle of Kalinga. So what he did, he come up with adopting a new policy name called Berigosha to Dhammagosha. Berigosha means conquering the land through the war. Dhammagosha means conquering the land through the moral principles. So what he did, he come up with the concept name called leaving Berigosha and adopting Dhammagosha. Ashoka was initiated to Buddhism by Upagupta. Okay, Upagupta is a person who gave more information related to the Buddhism. Because of his info only, Ashoka got more influence towards the religious Buddhism. Ashoka started the institution of Dhamma Mahamatharas. Dhamma Mahamatharas was the position which was created by Ashoka the Great for the purpose of propagating the Dhamma policy towards the land of India. Okay, so whenever he appointed any Dhamma Mahamatharas, they used to take care of propagating the Dhamma policies. The third Buddhist council was organized by Ashoka in his capital Pataliputra around 250 BC under the presidency of Moggaliputra Tissa. We discussed this under the Buddhist council of, comes under the Buddhism chapter. He sent his son Mahendra and daughter Sanghamitra to Sri Lanka for the propagation of the Buddhism. First ever, missionary for the purpose of propagating the religious was sent by Ashoka only to Sri Lanka, and he gave one branch of Bodhi tree to be planted in Sri Lanka. Ashoka is the responsible personality for spreading the Buddhism in the region of Ceylon, Nepal, and Ceylonese ruler Devam Priya Tissa was Ashoka's first convert to Buddhism. The most prominent objective of Ashoka's Dhamma policy was to preserve the proper social order in the society. Next one is about the administration. This administration was completely carved out by Chanakya because based on his convenience only, the centralized administration was introduced in the Mauryan Empire. The Mauryan Empire had a highly centralized administrative structure. There are 7 elements of Saptanga theory in his administration, which was mentioned by Chanakya. The king was assisted by his councils of ministers, Mantri Parishad. Remember, Mantri Parishad means, as I told you, allocation of separate department to the ministers. So, technically we can call the father of portfolio, which is Chanakya. But, after the British, we used to call the father of portfolio system is Lord Canning. He is the first viceroy of India. So, the portfolio system was followed by the India's history long ago itself. So, Chanakya is the person who come up with the term name called Mantri Parishad. The administration was widely divided into 4 units: the Chakra or the province, the Ahar or the district, the Sangarna or a group of villages, the Gram or village, the municipal administration headed by Nagareka. So likewise, they'll come up with the division of multiple units in terms of doing the centralized administration in India. Next one is Mauryan art. The art of Mauryans popularly classified into 2: royal art and popular art. Royal art means palaces, pillars, caves, stupas, which is initiated by the state for the purpose of their kingdom. Popular art means figures, sculpture, terracotta objects for the common people. Okay, even many assembly halls like that. The emblem of India has been adopted from the 4-lion capital of one of the Ashokan pillars. Saranath lion pillar considered as the national emblem of our country. Another 4-lion capital is located at Sanchi. Other than this, single lion capital at Rampurva, Lauriya Nandangarh, single bull at Rampurva, carved elephant at Dhauli have also been found for the purpose of indicating the capital cities. The Mauryas introduced and encouraged stone masonry on a very large scale, and the process of chewing out caves from the rocks. So, first time rock cut cave architecture came into existence, and also promotion of those kind of architecture came into existence during the time period of Mauryans only. These practices in later stage were expanded by the Guptas. So, whatever the points that I gave you here, it is completely related to the basic information. That is fair enough, because if you go in depth of this concept, you have to understand many things. But I've just picked up a few important points where you can find the questions. The next part is about the post-Mauryans. The last ruler of Mauryan Empire name called Briharatha Maurya. Briharatha Maurya. After the death of Ashoka, it was completely collapsed. There was no successful ruler and not powerful ruler of the state. So the last ruler considered to be Briharatha Maurya, and he was killed by Pushyamitra Sunga. Pushyamitra Sunga of which dynasty? Sunga dynasty. He is the Brahmin and who belonged to northern part of India. So he is the one who killed Briharatha Maurya. Okay, so make a note of this. The post-Mauryan history were divided into different categories. The complete India was divided into different parts, such northwest, northern part of India, Deccan Plateau and southern. The northwest comes under Indo-Greeks, Parthians, Kushanas, Shakas. The northwest invasion. The northern India comes under the control of Sungas and Kanvas. The Deccan Plateau comes under the control of Sathavanas. The southern comes under the control of Cheras, Cholas and Pandyas. So make sure just you know this term, that is fair enough. Who are all the people got India after the decline of Mauryan Empire? Such Indo-Greeks, Parthians, Kushanas and Shakas in the region of northwest. They invaded from Central Asia. And Sungas and Kanvas were the indigenous ruler who got a control over the northern part of India, and Satanavas took control over the Deccan Plateau, and Chera Chola Pandyas used to occupy the southern peninsular part of our country. Okay, so out of this, many things came into existence, such the Gandhara School of Art, Mathura School of Art, Amravati School of Art. The art and architecture become more prominent when, and also introduction of coins. The first people who introduced gold coins to India, that is Indo-Greeks, and also introduction of silver coins and numerous gold coins were introduced by the North West invaders, such Shakas and Kushans. So all these kind of development happened during the time period. Everything got merged under one particular dynasty, which is popularly known as the Gupta Empire. Okay, so next one is the Gupta Empire. After the fall of Mauryan Empire, the Kushans in the north and Satavahanas in the south, they held the power. Gupta Empire replaced Kushanas in the north when its central power of at Prayag, and gave political unity for more than a century. From 335 AD to 455 AD is the timeline of your Gupta Empire. So the Gupta Empire was formally founded by Sri Gupta. Gupta's strength lay in the use of horses and material advantages of a fertile land and natural resource of abundant region. Okay, so first ruler and popular personality Chandragupta I, the timeline is 319 to 334. He was the first great ruler of Gupta dynasty. Okay, he succeeded his father name called Gadodkacha, and he assumed the title name called Maharaja Adhiraja. Remember, adoption of title, sound titles for the king were practiced during the time period of Guptas only. And married a Lichavi princess and started Gupta era by 319 AD. The original type of gold coins, the dinar, was issued here. Remember, the gold coin was issued by the Guptas were popularly known as dinars. Samudragupta's son Chandragupta I and Kumara Devi in the inscription of Allahabad is the best example. And the next ruler is Samudragupta. He followed a policy of violence and conquest. The reason behind the enlargement or establishment of conquering more territorial under the Gupta Empire, Chandragupta only. And Harisena was a popular court poet and mentioned all the military exploits. Whatever the military exploits which made by Samudragupta were inscribed in the Allahabad inscription by his court poet named called Harisena. He reached Kanchi in the south, which was ruled by the Pallavas, and Meghavarman, the ruler of Sri Lanka, he sent a missionary for permission to build a Buddhist temple in which region? Bihar, that is Bodh Gaya. And he also permitted. So what we can understand from the Samudragupta is he is a secular and he gave importance to other religious as well. Samudragupta is called as a Napoleon of India because of his expedition, because of his establishment. Samudragupta was a versatile genius. He was called as Kaviraja. Kaviraja means the king of poets. Okay, Chandragupta II, he ruled from 380 to 412 AD. He is the one who adopted a title name called Vikramaditya. Okay, Vikramaditya title was adopted by Chandragupta II. He conquered Malwa. Malwa is the western part of Madhya Pradesh. If you take Madhya Pradesh, you can divide Madhya Pradesh in two parts. Western part of Madhya Pradesh, which is known as Malwa, eastern part, which is known as Vindhyas range. So Malwa means Madhya Pradesh. Which part? Western part. So, and Gujarat, which provided him access to the sea, which enabled trade and commerce. Ujjain was made the second capital of Guptas. Ujjain located in Madhya Pradesh. Okay, his court was adorned by the Navaratnas, including Kalidasa and Amarasimha. Very, very important personalities. Kalidasa and Amarasimha come up with numerous Sanskrit literature work during the time period, and literature become flourished under the Kalidasa and Amarasimha. He explored and glorified iron pillar at Qutub Minar. Okay, and during his time period only, the Chinese pilgrim named called Fa Hen who visited India. The purpose of Fa Hen visit, religious. He wanted to know more about which religious? Buddhism. That is the purpose of his visit. Fa Hen. In commemoration of his victory over Saka, Shatparas and Chandragupta II issued dated silver coins. First time the silver coins punched with the dates. The great Sanskrit poet Kalidasa was a member of the court of Chandragupta II. Okay, and Fa Hen, the Chinese Buddhist pilgrim, visited India between 405 and 412 AD. He visited collecting many Buddhist manuscripts and also text, and he studied here and he translated into the Chinese language, and he is a responsible personality to make Buddhism more popular in the region of China. Apart from that, you need to know the complete detail related to the poets and their works. Okay, so a separate chapter I have for that. In that chapter, we will discuss about the literature which was written by different poets and scholars during the time period of ancient, medieval, and modern. Next ruler is Kumaragupta, issued Ashwamedha type of coins like his grandfather Samudragupta. Epigraphic record showing how the organized administration which was made by him, and the Gupta Empire was challenged by Pushyamitra at the end of Kumaragupta's reign. Skandagupta successfully defeated the Hunas. The reason behind the decline of Gupta Empire were popularly known as invasion of Hunas. Huns, they are Rajputs. Okay, this community invaded India from Central Asia during the time period of Guptas. The golden era, the watermark of Indian history, that is which empire? Gupta Empire only. Okay, the important event of Skandagupta's reign was restoration and repair of the dam Sudarshana Lake. After 800 years of construction, it was built during the Chandragupta Maurya reign. When the ruling of Chandragupta Maurya, there was a lake built by him. That lake was repaired during the time period of Skandagupta, Sudarshan Lake. Sudarshan Lake was also repaired previously during the Saka Shatarapurudraman one. Okay. So what type of administration they followed? They adopted title, pompous title like Parambettakara, Maharaja, Adiraja, Vikramaditya. These kind of sound titles were adopted by the Guptas. The administration again decentralized with the feudal lords. So here the feudal lords means emergence of feudalism in India. The king started granting the land to the officials. Land grants given to the officials. So all the officials and the nobles or court poets, they used to receive the land grant. So because of that, this feudalism become more popular. Okay, they become landlords and they started gaining more, territorial in terms of holding the power. So the civil and criminal laws were highly demarcated, and Kumara Mathyas were the most important officers. Okay, we can call their civil servants. They will take care of day-to-day administration activity. Okay, day-to-day administration activity. These offices also become hereditary in nature. Okay, grant of fiscal and administrative concession to the priests, which means the priest comes under the religious right. They are exemption to the taxes. Exemption of taxes. Agrahara grants and Devagraha grants were practiced. Okay, they started getting more amount of land for their work from the kings. Trend in agrarian economy, Gupta issued large number of gold coins which were called dinars. There was a decline in the long distance trade with the Romans and lesser gold content in the dinars. Land grants made to priests brought many virgin land under cultivation. So whatever the land grant given by the kings to the priest, all these lands become agriculture land. So there is a lot of change in the society also. The people who are come under the Shudras are becoming the agriculturalists now. So now this community is becoming agriculturalist. The society started following the untouchability. Okay, based on the occupation, untouchability prevailed during the time period of Guptas. Social developments, as I told you, Brahmanas become a supremacy because this Guptas, they gave more importance to which religious? Hinduism. And the major god is Vishnu. Okay, Bhagavatism, particularly Bhagavatism. The Huns came to be recognized as one of the 36 clans of the Rajputs. And the position of Shudras improved. As I told you, they become, agriculturalists also. They were permitted to recite the Ramayana and Mahabharata and the Puranas, and also they were instructed to worship Lord Krishna and Lord Rama. Okay, as I told you, prevailing of untouchables during this time period, such Chandalas were, one of the noted untouchable community during the time period of Guptas. And the position of women were improved. They were permitted to hear Ramayana and Mahabharata, and they are like worship to Krishna. First example of Sati also appeared in the Gupta period. Remember, Sati means immolation of widow after the death of her husband. So what happens here, after the death of her husband, she used to get into fire, which is known as immolation. State of Buddhism. Buddhism did not receive a royal patronage in Gupta period. Still, stupas and viharas were constructed. Okay, so construction of stupas and viharas, that is monasteries, and the Buddhist shrine were built properly. And also Nalanda became more popular in terms of Buddhist learning. As I told you, Bhagavatism became more popular. Worship of Vishnu and Narayana merged under Bhagavatism, or we can call it as Vaishnavism. So Vaishnavism means the follower of which god? Vishnu. So Vishnu is become a prominent god here. It marked the bhakti, long devotion, okay, love and devotion, which is known as bhakti movement. And religious teaching were mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Purana, Vishnu Smriti. Vishnu Purana is most popular during the time period of Guptas because it is giving the detail related to 10 avatar of Vishnu, which is known as Vishnu Purana. Idol worship become common feature of Hinduism. Remember, Guptas were the one is responsible for the temple architecture in India. Okay, temple architecture in India become prominent during the time of Gupta rule only. They followed principles of tolerance as well. Art and culture, golden age of ancient India, as I told you. Rock-cut caves, particularly Ajanta, Ellora, Bagh. These three caves were representing three popular religions such Hinduism, Jainism and Buddhism. And structural temples. See this Dasavatar temple at Deoghar, Lakshman temple at Sripur, Vishnu temple, Varaha temple, all these become the earliest architectural style of the temple under Guptas only. Stupas, paintings, Ajanta and Bagh cave painting become more popular. Sculpture, the bronze sculpture of Buddha near Sultanganj, Saranath, Mathura school of art, Gandhara school of art, everything become flourished because idol worship become popular. Images of Vishnu and Shiva also came into existence during this time period, particularly which school of art? Mathura school of art, which provides the Hindu god idols as well. So literature, as I told you, Ramayana, Mahabharata were finally composed. Remember, the composition of Ramayana and Mahabharata started during 1300 BC. It was completed during 400 AD, which means 1700 years they composed Ramayana and Mahabharata. Vayu Purana, likewise many Puranas. Okay, and Buddha Gosha, where certain Buddhist literature also written this period. Other than that, secular. Mudra Rakshasa, written by Vishagadatta. Malavika Agnimitra, Vikramo Varshiyam, Abhinyana Shakuntalam, all this popular Sanskrit drama written by Kalidasa. Ritusambhar, Meghatud, Raghuvamsam, Kumara Sambhavam, all these were the poetries in Sanskrit written by Kalidasa. Mrichakatika, written by Shudraka. Kamasutra, written by Vatsyayana. Panchatandra, written by Vishnu Sharma. Remember, these are all the secular texts written during the time period of Guptas. Apart from that, scientific texts as well. Aryabhatya and Surya Siddhanta, written by Aryabhatta. Romaka Siddhanta, Maha Bhaskara and Lahu Bhaskara by Bhaskara. Pancha Siddhanta, Virat Jataka, Vrihat Samhita by Varahamihira. So all these were the scientific literature work written during the time period of Guptas. Okay, how it become fall? As I told you, Hun's invasion. Skandagupta and his successors greatly weakened his empire. They could not able to resist the attack from the Hunas. And role of Yashoda Arman dealt a severe blow to the Gupta empire. The rise of feudatories. The feudal chiefs started maintaining their own army, own administration. So they come out from the control of Guptas and they become independent. Because of that, this independent led, there is a lot of disintegration happened in the Gupta Empire, and the complete western part of India was crippled because of the economic activity. Okay, so that's all about your Mauryans as well as Guptas. We'll discuss few questions. Which was the Battle of Ashoka? Okay, the Battle of Plassey, no. Battle of Calicut, no. Battle of Panipat, no. Battle of Kalinga, coastal part of Odisha. Battle of Plassey fought between Bengal versus British. 3 battles of Panipat happened in the history. Battle of Calicut, it is not there. It has happened in the Kerala. So, Battle of Kalinga, coastal area of Odisha. Megasthenes was the ambassador of Seleucus. Okay, Seleucus Nicator. He was the governor who belonged to the Greek, appointed by Alexander the Great in the region of northwest India. So when Chandragupta Maurya wanted to safeguard the northwest, he waged a war against Seleucus Nicator, and he married the Seleucus Nicator daughter Helena. In return only, Megasthenes were sent to the court of Chandragupta Maurya by Seleucus. Indica, which is the account of Mauryan authored by Megasthenes. Megasthenes Indica, it is complete detail related to the Mauryans. Which period is popularly known as golden age of your ancient history? Guptas, undoubtedly. Which of the following first deciphered the inscription of Ashoka? James Princip. Okay, James Princip is the one who deciphered. That is translation of which one? The inscription which belonged to the Ashokan time period. Okay, so go through the slides and practice more number of questions. All the best. Thank you.